Left. You're on. You're alive.
This is pretty mild.
Turn on.
Yeah.
Sign up for.
Nobody? Okay. Nobody signed up for.
Yeah, no, that's part of my remarks, so.
Even better. You walked over to him.
No, not now that it's dark. My first meeting.
All right.
It is 6:30. I'd like to call this meeting, of the Morrison City Council, to order. Clerk, would you call the roll, please?
Bruckner,
Here.
Buckwalter,
Here.
Dunn,
Here.
Mahaffey,
Here.
Schlegel,
Here.
Travell,
Here.
Tickler.
Here.
All right, stand and say the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I've asked for a moment for comment to be put on the agenda tonight. First of all, council and speakers, please use microphones. I want to make sure we've had some comments that not everybody hears everything that's going on, so please use the microphones. I think there's fresh batteries in them. They do tend to eat up the batteries, so let us know if it's not working. First of all, we have a full agenda tonight. I appreciate everyone's willingness to work through it. We only have one meeting in December, and if possible, we'll keep the December agenda really short so that we can all enjoy the rest of the month and relax with our loved ones. Public comment, reminder that public comment is just that. Present your comments according to the guidelines that are printed on the reverse of the agenda. It's not a give and take between the public and the city and the council. Occasionally, the mayor has responded with clarifying comments, but that is the limit and should be the exception rather than the rule. Third, tonight's IDOT presentation. Tonight's presentation is not a public meeting regarding the rehabilitation of Route 30. It is a presentation to the council of how IDOT is approaching the project and how the next steps will be undertaken. So we still have the public comment sheet available if you wish to comment, but there will be no public comment with IDOT during this council meeting. There will be future public meetings with IDOT. Also, we are setting up a conduit between interested parties and IDOT, so you will have a centralized place to go with your thoughts, ideas, and reactions. Once the process is set up, it will be widely advertised. It is our hope that this will prevent everyone from feeling that no one is listening to your thoughts, or that if you submit a comment, no one is reading it. We're looking to build a centralized repository managed by a committee of interested parties that becomes a funnel or a conduit to IDOT so that everyone's comments get heard. This will happen sooner rather than later, and I promise that. So please watch this space. And I look to you to keep me honest with my word. You know, you cannot not find me. So if it's not happening, do let me know. Thank you. Public comment. Has anybody signed up? Wait a minute. Okay. We are happy to have representatives from IDOT and their contractors with us to give us a presentation on the Route 30 reconstruction project.
All right, well, perfectly challenged, so.
Perfect.
First of all, I would like to say thank you for having us here this evening, to discuss this very important project for the city of Morrison. We are once again here to discuss the US 30 study, reconstruction study in Morrison. Real quick, I would like to make some introduction. My name is Bridget Jocko. I do work for a company, an engineering firm called Porter and Schifrin. I am the environmental and public involvement lead for this project. I serve as a sub-consultant to Bowman, who's the prime, who was hired by IDOT to carry out a preliminary engineering and environmental study. So IDOT, if you would like to introduce yourselves, please, this evening.
I'm Brad Cushman. I'm the project manager for this US 30 project.
Yep, and I'm Rob Bates, I'm geometrics engineer in IDOT District 2 over in Vincent.
Thank you.
I'm Griselda Arcevice, I with Bowman Consultants, and I'm the consultant project manager. Thank you.
So the point of tonight's presentation, is just really with all the engineering and environmental things that go along with a project like this. I'm just joking, obviously, it's not exciting. But the point of the presentation is to allow you all to understand that it is a long process, but it's a very important process. So we want to inform you all on what goes into it, and then how we go about making our decision, the studies and projects such as this. So, as you all are aware, US 30 is the primary east-west corridor through Whiteside County through the city of Morrison. IDOT is currently conducting a preliminary engineering and environmental study referred to as a phase 1 for the improvements of US 30 in Whiteside County in Morrison. The study limits for this project begin 0.1 miles west of Illinois 78 north, and then it heads east along US 30, and then it ends at 0.2 miles east of Jackson Street in Morrison. So what that means is that we're studying that entire corridor, you know, to the north, to the south, in between those study limits, if that makes sense. Like, it's not just confined to the roadway. So we're studying the entire area, and I'll get into what we're studying for that here in a minute. So as I said, this is what's called a preliminary engineering and environmental study. So what does that mean? Like, what are we doing with time and money in a study such as this? So we identify the transportation needs within study corridor. We identify the environmental resources and concerns within the study area. We conduct numerous engineering studies. We develop the transportation solution. And we study and document the potential effects of all alternatives. And then at the conclusion of the study, we recommend transportation improvements that address the project's need. So when I'm talking about engineering studies, so just to let you know all that goes into it, these are the numerous aspects of the engineering and environmental studies that go into a phase 1 preliminary engineering study such as this. So we discuss preliminary engineering decisions. We look at the traffic. So IDOT carries out a traffic analysis, which takes a look or takes accounts from existing traffic along the route, how many average daily vehicles or average daily traffic is US 30 within that corridor, within those study limits is existing. And then what is the projected traffic? Is it going to increase? Is it going to decrease? Level of service? Is it going to be better or is it going to be worse? So we use that information to make decisions on, you know, capacity, like how much wider or where should we widen based on traffic. We also look at drainage and hydraulics, which we know this project, it's a big concern. There's a lot of drainage issues associated with US 30. So that's another full study that the IDOT engineers do. Crashes, same thing with the traffic. We take a look at the traffic or the crashes. So what we do is we work with state police. They give us records over like the last 5 years, the crashes, once again, within those study limits. And that allows us to determine, you know, what type of crash is the most prevalent, you know, like heading on to, you know, let's say you're taking a left onto Jackson Street. Is that somebody's hitting you, sideswiping you, or you getting rear-ended? So that helps us in understanding where the safety location for where we need to increase safety along that. So once again, just explaining that these are all factors that are going into ultimately the alternative to reconstruct US 30. So it says partial geometric. So what that means is basically an intersection, you know, are the turning, is there enough space for turning movements? Do we need to widen at these intersections, those kind of things. There's the geometry just totally off. Bridges, we look at the bridges along the route, look at their past records of, you know, their ratings, this and that. And then it's also one of those, when you're doing an alternative route where, you know, you're possibly widening, can the bridge be widened? You know, like that has to be come into consideration. Like, what are you looking at if you're gonna, let's say, widen 3 lanes here and 3 lanes here, and the bridge is only 2 lanes. So that becomes a factor also, something that IDOT looks at. We look at the amount of right of way. Are we gonna have to purchase a ton of property easements to get this done? Not only can that be a lengthy process just because of purchasing right of way, but it's costly, and those are impacts to the community. Some people may be like, yeah, take my property, I don't want to deal with it anymore, I don't want to mow it, I don't want to maintain it. But you know, some people obviously, you know, don't. So we look at those aspects also. We look at the environmental, or the permits, so, I do a lot of environmental permitting. And I'm sure, as you all know, if you've had to deal with permits as the council, getting permits is always gonna be a lengthy and kind of a lot of back and forth, let's just say. So we look at what type of permits are gonna be needed to get this project constructed, and are they feasible to obtain? The environmental considerations, so I'll get into that in a little bit. We look at all aspects of the environmental. And that is due to a number of reasons, but mainly because of what's called the National Environmental Policy Act, which requires us for a project such as this mid-study, you have to take into consideration all biological, cultural, and socioeconomic human factors when you're producing a project. We take into consideration very much public involvement, and then there's commitments that go into that final study. So as I was just saying, what we look at for environmental, is we prepare an environmental inventory of these. I'm not gonna go through all these, but these are all the environmental issues that we look at and resources that we take into consideration when developing alternatives for a project. And then what we do is a lot of what my job is to work with the engineers and say, okay, like, this is what we're proposing, but can we miss this wetland? Can we miss these trees? Can we move the roadway a little bit down here to minimize that impact? So that's what, like I said, that's also part of the study, is those environmental considerations. So what are we doing now? Like, you know, hey, IDOT, what are you guys doing? Just hanging out, celebrate the holidays early? No. So right now, to let you all know, we are currently wrapping up the traffic study that I was talking about earlier, the existing and proposed traffic data. The crash analysis, we're documenting all the existing environments, as we know, the city of Morrison, the historic structures and potential historic eligible structures. So those are the things that we're documenting. So basically, we map all those out, so we know where they are. We're doing a pike, gosh, I just combined those. So I can pet assessment. So that'll be part of looking at the multi-use path. It could be a possibility along this route. And then we're also starting to hold multiple stakeholder meetings. So the existing conditions, the roadway, I don't need to tell you all, it's in your condition, that's like, why that statement's in there. Safety concerns at some of the intersections, there is an average of 9,000 vehicles a day. And also one of the things that has been heard a lot and has always been an issue for the city of Morrison. It includes more than 1,200 semi trucks. So we are aware of that. Included in the average daily traffic. Drainage issues, which we had discussed before. And then there's also some traffic congestion. So those are things that we're looking to address as part of the study moving forward. So what are we looking to do? Well, we want to reconstruct the pavements along US 30 within this corridor. We want to evaluate increasing the capacity along the route, which means looking at adding lanes, turn lanes, etc. The intersections will be evaluated for appropriate traffic control stop, which means they're going to be looking at, once again, left turn lanes, possible stoplights, if those are warranted, so that's part of the process also. And like I just stated, we'll be looking at the pipe accommodations. That's pretty well on this. Long ride. And then once again, knowing drainage is a serious issue out there, we'll be looking at the drainage. So those are the proposed improvements and the needs that we feel need to be addressed as part of the study. So there was a feasibility study presentation that took place earlier this year on July 16th, and it was very well attended. That's great to see. Major comments included interest in the downtown area, maintaining that and continuing to enhance that area. Concerns about removal of trees, as you all know, along the route, especially towards the western end, there's a lot of very old growth trees. So that is, we are aware of that. There was positive and negatives of adding a multi-use path. Multi-use path is a great to bring people, it's a positive thing, but it also could take up, as I was talking about before, take somebody's front yard, take their right away. So that's something also that we will have to do, give and take and take a look at that, and see if it's warranted in the first place. Drainage and flooding, I feel like that was just a repeat, which is understandable. The high truck traffic. Wanting to preserve the historic aspects of this area. And there was an overwhelming support to initiate the project and get it completed, so. We would love that also, to get it done tomorrow or get it done yesterday. But that's kind of the point of this presentation, and you guys can see on everything that has to go into this, we are mandated to do these studies. Because we're spending the state's money. You have to have a reason, you have to prove why you're going out there and doing this. We can't just say. I mean, I could take pictures and be like, okay, this road is in terrible condition. Like, yes, but you have to prove all the other aspects of why we're spending that. So public involvement, as the mayor discussed at the beginning of the meeting, a conduit for the public to continue to make comments throughout the study. So we do recognize that it's very important for the public to provide their input, because at the end of the day, I don't live here, I don't work here, my kids don't go to school here. I need to know what you all are facing within this route. You know, is there traffic congestion? Is there an intersection that's terrible? Is there a family cemetery that's right up the road that I don't know about? Is there a historic tree that, you know, so it's very important for us to hear from the public, so we understand what's important to you, with providing a preferred alternative. So we will be holding stakeholder meetings, as the mayor had said earlier. We will be having additional public meetings, for public comment. And then there also is a project website. There's the QR code there. But you know, I just want to let people know that there's a way to communicate with the Illinois Department of Transportation, questions, needs, comments. So the project development and funding, IDOT has a 3-phase process for the first phase of that. So the first phase, referring to this as a phase 1, evaluates the alternatives and eventually selects the preferred options. And during this preliminary engineering and environmental study, referred to as a phase 1, we determine the proposed geometry, the environmental resources, and the proposed right-of-way needs are identified. So we wrap that all up and we put it in this pretty little document, and that source is like I said, laying out what the results of the traffic analysis, what right of way are we gonna need, etc. So next steps for the project timeline. Right now we're collecting the data and carrying out all those evaluations like we're talking about, and evaluating existing conditions for achieving the stakeholder involvement, and the reasons we're here this evening. In 2026, we'll be continuing those engineering studies, developing design alternatives. And what's that means is that, you know, we need to figure out, taking all this information and engineering, environmental, right of way, you know, the needs of the public, and we develop those design alternatives to understand, you know, should we go a little bit north, should we go a little bit south, should we take more off this intersection, should we close this road? Like, those are the things that we need, that is we're designing alternatives, those are things that will come up with. So we'll have various different alternatives. Not saying that it's gonna be, you know, 10 miles to the north or 10 miles to the south. I just want to let you know that there'll be varying alternatives along the route itself. We will be holding a public meeting in 2026, which I think is 2000. And then we will select a preferred alternative, and that comes with the public's input. So it's important for you all to show up to those meetings, and also at any point in time, like I said, make those comments that help us in selecting that preferred. And then we'll continue on to the preferred alternative design and hold a public meeting number 2. So this is important. This is that contact email the mayor was discussing as a conduit of something you can always have available to you. And I discussed with the mayor before this to get that up on the City of Morrison's social media sites, and also their website connecting into IDOT's webpage. So you all can just go to the City of Morrison's website and be like, oh, click on, there's the IDOT, there's 30 study, oh, here's that contact email. And those go directly to Brad, don't send anything to me, which we don't have that. Brad will just be like, forward to Bridget. So with that, I know that was a lot of information, but once again, I think it's just, we had discussed internally, it's important to understand that, we'll do this as fast as we can. But there, there's a lot of hoops to jump through, a lot of agencies to work with. And so just to make it happen and find you all a suitable alternative, a little better than the contact you.
Thank you.
Questions from the council? Mayor? Manager? Yes, sir.
Just for public information, because it's a topic of discussion as it will be an alternative as well in the plan. So how, and I'm gonna talk very strictly about the intersection of North Genesee Street.
Yeah.
As IDOT considers options for that intersection, will one of those options show that street closed, or will you not consider that until this council makes some sort of decision? How do you want to see that, or what's the progress with that part of your plan?
I can answer, but Brad or Rob, if I misspeak, you can just throw something at me and then I'll take that back. They always say strike it from the record.
Well, I guess I'll just start real
Yeah.
quick. I mean, IDOT doesn't go around looking to close streets as a matter of course. It may be the best alternative in some cases. In this case, I would say we would need some kind of support or recommendation from the city before that would be considered.
I have a question, really quick. So you say part of the study is with the traffic patterns and a big concern is the truck traffic. Traditionally, have you ever found within a project like this that you may add additional stoplights to the route that are not currently there?
Yes, so, there's something called the Manual on Uniform Traffic Control Devices, and it lays out a pretty thorough process to check the traffic at like the peak hour or over the course of a day, or as a result of pedestrian need or crash history or something. And we're going through that process now, so we definitely will look at that.
Thank you. Anything else? All right, thank you very much. Thank you.
That was easy. That was good, thank you.
Thanks. A reminder, this presentation is on the web and on the city's website, available under meeting packet, including the QR codes and links to the website, so it's there. All right, city officers, department heads, etc. reports. You have a written report from the chief of police. Do you have anything to add, chief?
No.
Okay. You have a written report from streets, a written report from water and sewer. We will talk about the treasurer's report under consent agenda. Other than that, Matt, do you have anything to add other than that? Okay. Nathan, do you have anything?
Couple things, Turkey Trot is this Saturday at 9 a.m. I want to go up a little bit, it's gonna be cold, I'm not sure about the snow or not. Registration's at 8 a.m. and it starts at 9. And then next week, Thursday, will be our bingo. And that'll be here, Thursday at 6:30. And Mr. Bartos here is our host, and he will be wearing an elf costume.
Yes. Awesome.
All right.
Will be there.
Where's Jerry? We want pictures.
Very Christmassy, bingo. And also we have a couple, softball tournaments, next year. The U-Trip already approved for a Father's Day one, and also, a spring one, so spring and a Father's Day one. That's for our local, Erie teams that are softball teams. That's it.
Thank you. All right. Consent agenda. There are 5 items on the consent agenda. Does anyone wish to remove any one of those from consent? If not, is there a motion to approve items 1 through 5 on the consent agenda?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Are there any questions about any individual items or comments on any item in the consent agenda? Hearing none, clerk, would you call the roll?
Bruckner,
Yes.
Buckwalter.
Yes.
Dunn,
Yes.
Mahaffey,
Yes.
Schlegel,
Yes.
Travell,
Yes.
Pickler.
Yeah.
Motion carried.
Right. Starting on your page 32 is the tax levy. The printed copy in your packet has a typo. The correct number is the number in the bottom of the table. The number that is written in the text under the heading paragraph section 2 is incorrect. It should match that number in the bottom of the table. So there's 2 ways to go about this. I could take a motion to approve the ordinance as printed, and then I would ask for an amendment to fix the typo, or we could take an omnibus motion to approve the ordinance with the number in section 2 amended to match the bottom of the table. I'll ask for a motion to approve the ordinance as printed. It's been moved and seconded that the ordinance as printed be approved with the information that there is a typo in the paragraph starting section 2. I would suggest it is appropriate to amend that paragraph so that the figure of 733,142.33 is amended to match the figure of 733,302.09 in the bottom of the table. Is there a motion for that amendment? All right, the amendment is now on the table for discussion. I appreciate you working through this process. Any questions on the amendment? Hearing none, since it is money, we should have a roll call vote on the amendment.
Okay, Bruckner,
Yes.
Buckwalter.
Yes.
Dunn,
Yes.
Mahaffey,
Yes.
Schlegel,
Yes.
Travell,
Yes.
Tickler.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Now on the table for approval is an amended motion that has the numbers in the text matching the numbers in the table. Now that we have the full amended motion on the floor, is there any question or further comment on this motion for the tax levy? It has been exposed to council twice. It has been published per statute, exposed to the public. We've followed all of the rules and regulations. This is our ask of the tax levy. Any further questions? Comments?
I have one comment.
All right.
Just for public information, I don't want to get into the weeds of this, but the tax rate as part of information to the public, the tax rate itself is actually being decreased 3.7%. So you are actually decreasing your tax rate, which is good work.
Further comments, questions?
We should put that on the website. Seriously, anything that's like that.
We haven't approved it yet, but
It's the dollar ask and the rate versus assessed value, so on and so. Okay. Any further comments or questions? If not, clerk, would you call the roll?
Bruckner,
Yes.
Buckwalter.
Yes.
Dunn,
Yes.
Mahaffey,
Yes.
Schlegel,
Yes.
Travell,
Yes.
Tickler.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, item 3, Odell Library Board of Trustees request for memorial benches. There's a couple of illustrations there. And the ask just for placement?
Yes, Mr. Mayor,
Okay,
you want me to?
yeah, please.
The library and the library board is considering placing 2 memorial benches. And they're requesting to place them in 2 alternative spots out front. The display in your packet and on the screen above shows that the 2 proposed placements of the benches. There's only 2 of them, so it's either the 2 yellow or the 2 green. They are for Alyssa Rideout, which is a longtime library employee, and Judy Johnson, a longtime library friend, that the board would like to recognize with benches. And so they asked what kind of process, and I just stated that since it's placing something on city property, that the council would need to consider the request. So
So it's not an ask for money, it's an ask
no,
for
it's
placement.
just placement of the benches, that they are not asking for any city funds for these benches.
So motion to approve placement of 2 memorial benches on library property, city property.
So
Second.
Any further questions or discussions? Hearing none, this does not involve money. We can do a voice vote. All in favor, please say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
I'm sorry, so we just voted for having benches,
Yeah.
not the option.
Correct.
Okay.
Well, that's their discretion. They will place 2 benches, either 5-foot benches or 6-foot benches. Do you have some introductory comments on the painting project, city administrator?
I guess. I guess it's up to the council whether they want to move forward with considering any kind of pay request from Bob Bellotti Painting and or change order. I think should be at least to some extent discussed.
Okay. So then I would entertain a motion. Let's take this one by one then. Item 4. How about a motion for to approve change order number 1 as exterior painting project on your pages 36 to 38. There's a motion to approve, we can discuss and then either vote it up or down.
So.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the change order. Again, as enumerated on pages 36 through 38, we've got the table there on your page 36, and then the 2 pages of changing. Have any more comments on the change order?
I sure do, Mr. Mayor.
Okay,
Thank you. So the change order that Mr. Bellotti is requesting is for an increased amount of $1,041. I've asked him repeatedly for some sort of justification and a formal change order. And page 39 of your packet is what you get. He's claiming it's for additional supplies, compensation for extra supplies and extra labor costs. My professional opinion to this council, I would recommend you not pay him and not approve this change order, because I don't think that's enough justification for a change order. And I do not believe his work to this day is satisfactory. But again, please don't take my word for it only. I encourage you all to go out there and look at those buildings if you haven't already. I don't want this to be simply my decision paying him, not because I will admit I'm a little more particular than some may be. And I don't think the painting job is adequate at this time for a public building and for a cost of $54,573. So, but I'd like to, receive your input and your direction on moving forward with, finishing this project with Mr. Bellotti. He claims that he's gonna finish up everything tomorrow. But what he believes is complete and satisfactory does not agree with what I see out there. So
Like tomorrow,
like tomorrow,
Like
Tuesday,
The 25th.
November 25th. It's just what he told me in an email today. So,
I would agree with Brian not to pay him. I'm not gonna approve any money to him until I feel that he's done the work satisfactory. I went out there today to look at it. Some spots, the whole side of the front of that building, the cold storage building number 2, you can see right through the coat of paint that he's put on. He was supposed to put primer and 2 coats on. There's no way in hell that there's 2 coats of paint on that building. Backside of the building looks a lot better, but I think somebody else did that. Yeah, I think he had a subcontractor do that.
Yeah.
Part of the building, no, absolutely not. Some of the trim work is poor. The stuff that he's touched up is poor. It's not the quality that Brian had looked at when we awarded the job. When he looked at the references. I don't believe. So I think we are getting subpar work for painting. I don't like what he's done, but moving forward, I would have a problem with pausing it. It was December. If you wanted to finish in the spring, but still not pay him anything until he completes the project satisfactory.
I actually had a question, because please refresh my memory. Did we have a signed contract with him?
absolutely.
Okay, so my concern is clearly, the legalities of it, to look at that, because whether we agree, like, listen, I'm just like, wanna tell him, like, personally, pound sand, do it right, or pound sand. However, legally, if we have a contract with him, we would have to pay him, and then, right, litigate with him to make the city whole. So, I'm concerned about that, right? That we follow the letters of the contract. What kind of, whether we like it or not. I just need to throw that out there, that's a real
Mhm.
concern.
And to that point, very good point. So we do have a contract with him that was reviewed by him and
The attorney.
our city attorney, and he signed January 9th of this year. As part of that, to date, the worksheet up on the screen shows that to date, we have paid him $43,177.30. We legally, once the work is satisfactorily performed, owe him yet $11,395.70.
It's based on the bid and the.
That's based on the bid. There was, and 10% of that, which is 5,400 and some cents, is the 10% project retention at the end. However, there's still part of that, about an equal amount that we have yet to pay him because of unsatisfactory performance. And it states in the contract that we are only to pay him once he has A, submitted a pay request, and B, the work was completed satisfactory. And through this process, I have, starting in June is when I gave him the first punch list of things he hasn't finished. And we've been working on that, trying to get him to finish things as he progresses. And it just got to a point where I said, Bob, I can't recommend the council pay you anymore until you complete the punch list and do a satisfactory job. And so that's where we're at.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
yeah, so I believe, I'm not an attorney, but I believe our city attorney would support the fact that we are legally following the contract. And just because he does the work doesn't mean he gets paid. He has to do it satisfactory.
Because historically, that was our concern when, with letting this bid and awarding this bid, is that we would get a bid for one amount from a company. And then an actual bill that would far exceed that bid amount, right?
Right.
So this is just,
I mean,
Yeah.
I agree with you, Susanna, but this ain't post. If you look at the bid, we wanted this done by August. It is December and he's still working on a punch list, still having thin paint. It's December. I'm frustrated because he's been talking to Brian the whole time and, you know, you could get somebody else in here to paint for him. We wanna cared or we didn't, and it doesn't matter, just get it done, but I don't know what's his dragging the feet is, but I think I'm of such that I'm not gonna pay him anymore until I feel that, you know, it's getting painted correctly.
There are a lot of spots, out on Route 30, they just look like, didn't get second coat or something, it just kind of you back up, you look at it, it's kind of cloudy. Like, it needs a second coat. That building, if you walk around the back, there's spots that are not painted, that are completely missed. And to be honest with you, and I'm not a painter or anything, but it kind of looks like there was no prep work done on that building. It looks pretty rough. But, that's what's good about the contract, is it works two ways. And he has to satisfy Brian in order to pay. It's been months since he's done that.
well, I agree.
Yeah,
So I'd like to know from him what his intentions are moving forward.
His intentions are
It's not
to
gonna be able to.
complete it tomorrow. That's
He's
what his
not gonna
intentions
do
are.
that.
I'm just
And I guess
telling
what do
what
we do,
he's.
Scott? What did
It's
you
gonna go in, it's gonna go in the spring because it's getting cold to where no paint's gonna stick.
Right?
After tomorrow, I don't see the weather getting to the temperature that he's gonna be able to paint
No.
until spring.
I drive past that building 4 times a day. Every day. And there was weeks where I would never see it
Absolutely.
during good weather.
Oh,
So to try to catch up in November because you weren't doing anything in August and September is silly.
And although there's no penalty in the contract for not getting it done by a certain date, the contract itself did say that there was an expected completion date of August 1st. So, as Alderman Schlegel said, we're going on, do the math, August,
Maybe we,
4 months.
Let's say a student completed on time or not paying it.
Well, there's no penalty for him not completing on time. That was just the expected date, because when we talked in March, he's like, oh yeah, I'll have this done in a couple months.
maybe we take this as a city as lesson learned and include those penalties in future contracts within this, just a thought.
Yeah, well, it has, I mean, it has the traditional retention of 10% at the end. That's only $5,400 of the project. However, we've held more than that to this point, $11,000 that we have yet to pay him. So he's pretty anxious to complete it. He just thinks I'm being difficult. So that's why I bring it to you, because I don't want it just to be me making this decision. Because I'm not making the decision.
Right.
You guys are making the decision. I do as I'm told. So that's why I'm looking for your direction.
I mean, you have on here separately the change order and the full payment, right? So
Yes.
we need to discuss them separately
Right,
or vote or whatever we're gonna do separately.
right now, the motion is the change order.
And you've asked many times and he hasn't given you any further explanations besides
Yes, this is all he's
labor and
given me.
supplies was what he wrote.
Right, I
Okay.
pretty much told him in order to do a change order, you have to essentially itemize your expenses to date for the entire project. Because you have to show what your costs were up to that point, plus the excess. And this page is what I received after several requests.
So I wrote on that. Yeah, chat.
So he has not done that.
No,
Yeah.
his written change order is not even sufficient, in my mind, which is page 39 again.
I agree.
I think he was in trouble when he began because he wasn't meeting the work
Right.
payments as far as his workers. I know I talked to him a couple times early, he was fumbling big time.
Okay.
I just think that we hold all this until the work is actually completed, then we can discuss final payment, just kind of begin. Because tomorrow never comes, right?
Correct.
So are we in an agreement as a council that we'll just wait until spring? With him,
Until it's
I mean,
completed.
Until he says the work is completed and it's evaluated, right?
Are you gonna do that, or are you looking to say, who's gonna finish it? I mean, if we're not gonna pay him this money, is he gonna walk away?
no, but what I'm saying is if we essentially fire him and then just deal with it on our own.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Is he
Yeah.
gonna walk away, or are you gonna fire him, or
I don't know. that's why I'm
then
asking
you're looking
everybody
at
else what they're
bringing
thinking.
somebody else in to finish it or touch it up?
If he walks away, then you're gonna have to find somebody else to do it.
I guess we'll find out tomorrow. Just.
So, but there are, yeah, there are,
I give him another 6 months to dilly dally.
there are two items to consider, and first is the change order. A thought is to approve the change order, but not approve paying it.
But if we approve the change order, we're in essence.
We're obligating the city to pay money, yes.
For that, because it's not appropriately. You know, that's I'm just throwing it out there. That's my opinion.
Think that if, I would feel like if we wanted to take any action today, it would be to not approve the change order pending he provided any better documentation. I mean, we don't have to say that part. We can talk about it again if he gives that, but
Work's not gonna be done. You're giving an improvement, a change order for something he's already done.
I just say we table whole thing until our next meeting.
Every both of them.
Okay, but we do have a motion on the floor. I'm sorry to be a stickler, but to approve, we'll take a vote on that motion. If it fails, it fails. And we would ask for a motion on the final pay request, and again, council could either move it or just let it fail due to lack of motion. So my suggestion is to vote on whether to approve the change order now. And then pending that answer, look at item 5. And since the change order does have financial implications, we need a voice vote. Any further comments on this process? I think this is the way to go. Unless you disagree. All right, clerk, would you call the roll?
Bruckner,
No,
Buckwalter,
no,
Dunn,
no.
Mahaffey,
No,
Slagle,
No,
Ravel. No. Stickler.
no.
Okay,
Motion failed.
the change order has not been approved. Is there a motion to approve the final pay request on your page 39? Hearing none, that option or that action dies for lack of motion to approve. We'll entrust the city administrator to communicate to, as he's been referred to, Painter Bob, these actions, and we'll see what happens tomorrow. For discussion only. We included a presentation from Software Solutions. City Administrator Melton set up this issue in his email to council and interested parties regarding the software solutions for our billing accounts, so on and so forth. Do you have any comments? It's a comprehensive, it's pretty basic presentation. I've been in on some discussions where the current system clearly isn't working. And it might be time to look at another integrated solution.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Briefly, yes, it's time to find a new soft records management system for City Hall for our financials, budget, payroll, our utility billing, and a host of other programs that we can, code enforcement, we can utilize through this, just a host of services, online banking that's more user-friendly. Our current software vendor is not sufficient and not responsive when we have a request. In the past, something trivial as a treasurer's report for our treasurer can take times because we will find an error or an issue with it, and it'll take us 2 weeks just to get a response through our vendor support. It's just not acceptable. The amount of money we pay for software to get this kind of product and this kind of service. We've had this product for, well, since I've been here, 16 plus years. And it's been not updated in those 16 plus years.
Seriously?
So, it's old, it's inundated, with just out of date, functionality. And, we've been doing a little shopping for quite a while. And we really like, in this BS&A software solutions seems to, the cream rises to the top, so to speak. Cost wise, it is a costly transition. However, the annual licensing fees are about the same compared to what we're paying now. So essentially, the cost is just in changing, not maintaining it thereafter. I hope to have representatives from BS&A at the next meeting for you. I doubt any of you want to get into the nitty-gritty of the software aspects of it unless you want to learn and come work at City Hall. That'd be great. Otherwise, I doubt you're interested in that. However, Barb, Shelley, and I, and Dave, and even Nate, Maggie, and Mike use it to some extent, but not as much as Shelley and Barb. They have a host of Illinois municipalities. I assure you that I will be doing reference checks with many of them. But their software is just, well, when you're comparing it to what we have, it's just a delight to go through it. It's very user-friendly. It's going to be better for our community to do online banking or online utilities. They'll be able to do online permitting, the whole bit. It's just kind of bringing the city of Morrison a little further into the 21st century with using technology and online services for our community. So it's going to cost approximately $101,000 to do, 101,150 even. There's stages of this. This would be spread across at least 3 separate funds: water, sewer, and general. So when you look at it collectively, it's a lot of money, but when you separate it out into the separate funds, it's well worth the money. Absolutely. So yeah, I'll stop it.
We make a change like this, what about competitive bidding?
We can get past competitive bidding because it's more, should probably have our city attorney here.
Yeah, I won't
It's-
hold you.
Yeah,
This is discussion only.
yeah, this is discussion only, but it's, I mean, there's a lot of software businesses and vendors out there. We could shop forever, as Alderman Tickler will tell us, being a software expert for a local healthcare provider. But you get what you pay for. And I'm done paying a lot of money for junk. Let's just put that way. So
In particular, you,
When they come to the train, do you have any idea how many people they'll send to train?
just a couple people. A lot of it will be done online. Probably one or two representatives will be here physically, because it'll go in stages.
I saw the travel expenses down there, and it looks like it could add up pretty quickly.
Yeah, especially if there's additional training. If we don't catch on to it quickly, but it's very user friendly. It really resembles our Microsoft Outlook email. So the visuals of it, we're already used to, so it's already helpful, and like I said, Barb and Shelley seem to be very happy with this specific vendor.
I was gonna say, I love software upgrades, so I would love to see it done.
I bet you would.
okay, so we'll keep this on the front burner, again, for discussion only. But yeah,
What's your time frame? Or what would you?
I dare you to say tomorrow.
Oh, I'm gonna jump off the edge and say next meeting, I would really like to, what's that?
Do we have room in the budget?
Yes,
You spread it across 3 funds
right.
that are healthy.
Yeah, I can certainly prepare that and get that for you for the next meeting, but yes, we've been kind of planning on this in the background, and yeah, the funds are there for sure.
We're in the middle of our fiscal year, right? It doesn't end in December.
Right.
Okay.
April 30th.
And our current vendor's new invoice for the new year is on my desk, and I really don't want to pay it. So I don't want the city to have to pay it. I'm not paying it, but yeah, I don't want the city to have to pay it. So
Okay. Related to the IDOT presentation, we did leave the 200 block of North Genesee closure possibility on there for discussion only. I don't know if council has any further comments or items they want to bring up tonight, or maybe sit and digest what you've heard tonight and keep this option open in your mind.
I would like to see IDOT come back with more of their reporting and leaving that as an option, either closing it or directing it away, you know, removing the lights totally.
Right.
But I'd like to have both options open still, and hearing their reporting and things like that, which could be another year from now before we actually have to make that
Right.
decision. I just think I would rather delay that as long as we can to get all their information so we can digest it accordingly and let them tell us, yeah, it'd be beneficial for IDOT to close it or not close it, or in the end, for whatever reason their reasoning is.
I appreciate that. That sounds reasonable in what I'm hearing. I can't speak for the council, but I think they're open to all sorts of suggestions, and they will prepare alternatives. And they will take input in as to which alternative to go down. So I think, appreciate that comment.
I would like to just support him and say I agree with it. And I would very much like to see this not put on every agenda, because it's kind of a waste of time. Right, until, I mean, all it does is say, oh, this has been on the agenda all the time, right? To try to push a vote, so, I agree with. That I would like to see, wait until they've done their studies and actually come back. I think we're excessively premature on even having any sort of discussion on this. So I would ask to not keep having it on the agenda, the same thing on the agenda.
Any other thoughts or comments?
If it's on the agenda, though, you really don't have to, I mean, like Brian said, where we don't have any extra input, then you just skip it, but. You know, it offers, if people have strong feelings about it, if it's on the agenda, then it'll be fresh on their mind. They want to come and speak public comment or, you know, offer their input, then they have. Because if it comes off the agenda, I'm afraid people will be like, well, they dismissed it or they're not gonna talk about it anymore. Where if it's on there, it's more about keeping the open line of communication on there. So that people then can talk about their feelings behind it or for it or against it. And then, I mean, I agree, we have to be able to the data to see what our options are, but I guess I just don't see a harm in having them. Well, while we wait for the data, because I do agree with those points, it also sounds like they're kind of waiting to get our temperature on what we'd like to do with the intersection too. Because he said that tonight that he would need a suggestion or an observation from the city to put that into place. So if we put planted that seed, because we do kind of what we would like to do, have a couple ideas what we'd like to do, and maybe they could incorporate what they want to do with what we want to do. I don't think having the open communication with the public and that's a bad idea.
Any further comments? Appreciate those thoughts. Keep it. It has not been dismissed, but yeah, I understand the point. Do we need to waste ink on it every 2 weeks? We'll act accordingly. And try and come up with a solution that doesn't fatten your packet, but also indicates that it's not been dismissed. I think we'll leave it at that. There are 2 items for executive session. I would entertain a motion, excuse me, to move from public session to executive session. Any opposed? Hearing none.
Not good.
Okay.
Just a motion if you approve it. So this year, holidays are on Wednesday and Thursday. For our employees. This does, the police department's out. A couple months ago, the teachers came and said, hey, instead of having Wednesday and Thursday off, can we have Thursday and Friday off? Just makes more sense.
This is Christmas.
This is Christmas and New Year's.
In
2
2026.
No, this, yes, this
For
year.
2025?
Yeah, for 2025, the holidays are
Wednesday, the 24th.
and Thursday, the 25th, and then New Year's Eve and New Year's Day are Wednesday and Thursday
Wednesday.
following.
They wanna-
What's that?
They wanna work the eves and take.
They want to work the eves and then just take the Friday off, so that they'll be off Thursday and Friday. Police department, doesn't matter, not talking about them. However, we will keep the city hall employees the same as public works, so if public works is off, city hall's closed, that kind of thing. Makes sense that if they're working or not, so, there's no financial cost to this, this is just simply changing the schedule for the holiday of Christmas and New Year's Eve this year.
What are we getting in return?
No. A rock.
Good.
Tidings of comfort.
Tidings of comfort and
Just let's make that noted, so when we go bargaining again, you say, nice.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
question,
Ask for the birthday, Bob.
I have a question.
They work extra hard on.
So if we end up with, I'm just gonna say it, I don't wanna jinx us, but when we end up with a water main exploding the day after
Why would you
Christmas,
say
Oh, they,
because it happens like all the time, right? Murphy's Law.
When it's really, really cold.
Yeah, really cold.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we've gotta have a guy working out there. Now are we paying him like double or triple time because he's working on a holiday?
Well, if he's working on a holiday,
Yep.
it's, for public works, it's double time,
Right,
yes,
but that would.
either
be-
way, it would. Yeah,
but I mean, the water main could break on the 24th as well as the 26th.
Yeah.
True that, we don't know.
they just thought it was weird to come back to work for one day. And then
Probably
off
less
for the weekend.
productive.
And yes, less productive. It just makes sense, really. I guess we should have thought of that when we made this established schedules this time last year, but
Usually we follow the union agreement.
Yeah.
if you choose to agree to it, all it will be is a motion.
Yeah.
We're not going to draft a memorandum of understanding or anything like that. It's just be kind of fairly informal.
So the motion would be for non-police department. Move those two holidays. 24th to the 26th and 31st to the 2nd. Okay,
Like you said.
I think we need a motion to go out of executive session and into public.
So moved.
Second.
Any opposed? I declare we are out of executive session at 7:49 on November 24th, and we have re-entered public session. I don't see anybody waiting to come in. We'll entertain a motion for a holiday bonus for non-elected city employees.
I'd like to make a motion to pay full-time city employees a $600 bonus and part-time city employees a $300 Christmas bonus.
Second.
We should make that net of taxes and deductions. Is there an amendment?
Is
Sure, yes.
that in your motion?
It's in it's in her motion. The word net pay was in her motion.
Let's start over. That day.
It was in your motion. It's been moved and seconded. Are there any further questions, discussions? And this is only to full-time and part-time employees, no seasonal employees, no elected employees. Hearing no further discussion, it has financial implications, so we need a roll call vote.
Bruckner,
Present.
Buckwalter,
Yes.
Dunn,
Yes.
Mahaffey,
Yes.
Schlegel,
Yes.
Terrell,
Yes.
Tickler,
Yeah.
motion carried.
All right. Is there a motion?
Did you go back to
Did you-
Bruckner?
Oh, do you want to change your vote or leave it as president?
We can do this, please.
Okay. Is that the same as abstain?
No, it's just present.
It's just present.
Motion carried.
Is there a motion to move for non-police department employees and personnel and city hall 2 holidays in the remaining year?
So move. Second.
Okay, that needs to be a specific motion. So I move to change.
You're gonna do it this year only?
I move to change the Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve as working days, and then the 26th and the 31st as, or the second as office.
Is there a second? All right, the motion has been specific and seconded. Is there any further discussion on that? Has no financial implications. We will do a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you very much. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Any opposed? Hearing none at 7:52, I declare city council meeting of November 24th closed or adjourned.
Happy Thanksgiving, go Cowboys.
Thanks, everybody.